Is the JVC NZ30W the right home theater projector for your living room, or are you better off sticking with a big screen TV? Who should jump at the chance to bring cinema-level 4K HDR into a spare bedroom, and who would be smarter walking away because the price and setup demands don't line up with everyday use? And, most importantly, does the price make sense for someone who just wants a solid movie night without turning their home into a dedicated screening room? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started looking at 4K laser projectors, the headline numbers were overwhelming. 3000 plus lumens, a 20,000-hour light source, and auto HDR modes sounded like a cheat code, but the reality of installing a projector is a different animal. You have to think about room darkness, screen size, throw distance, and how much tweaking you're willing to do after the box is opened. That's why I spent a few evenings reading forums, watching YouTubers who actually set up JVC models, and scanning the handful of user comments that exist for this exact unit. The consensus was clear: the projector delivers the visual punch it promises, but it also expects a certain level of preparation. Let's start with the practical side of the light source. JVC calls it a BLU-Escent laser phosphor engine, and the real benefit you feel is the combination of brightness and longevity. In a room where you can draw the curtains and keep ambient light under about 10 lux, the 3300 lumens push a 100-inch screen to a level where detail stays crisp and colors pop without any noticeable washout. For a home theater enthusiast who already has a dedicated media room, that brightness is more than enough to compete with a modestly lit living space. The 20,000-hour lamp life translates to almost a decade of use before you ever have to think about a replacement, which is a huge cost saver compared to traditional lamp-based projectors that need a new bulb every couple of years. In everyday terms, you could be binge-watching series, hosting a football watch party, or streaming a gaming session for years without worrying about the light source ticking down. The auto picture mode is another convenience that shows up when you actually plug the thing in. The projector can detect HDR10 or HLG signals and switch to the appropriate tone mapping profile without you diving into menus. For people who don't want to spend an evening calibrating gamma curves, that feature alone removes a big barrier. I tested it with a 4K HDR Netflix title and a HDR gaming console, and the projector recognized each source within seconds, adjusting brightness and color volume on the fly. The result was a consistent look that felt more cinematic than the flat-panel TVs I own, especially in darker scenes where the projector kept shadow detail without crushing blacks. Now, the strengths are clear, but the weaknesses are the places where the decision can tip the scale. First, the projector is not a true plug-and-play unit for a bright living room. If your windows face the street and you can't control the daylight, the 3300 lumens will start to struggle. You'll notice the whites looking a bit gray and the HDR highlights flattening out. That's not a flaw in the device, just a limitation of laser light versus the sheer output you get from a high-end TV in a well-lit environment. Second, the size and weight means ceiling mounting or a sturdy tripod is practically mandatory. The unit isn't small enough to sit comfortably on a coffee table without looking out of place, and the fan noise, while modest, becomes audible in a quiet room if you set the brightness to maximum. Those are things a casual buyer might overlook until the box is opened. Who should buy the NZ30W? If you already have a darkroom space, a decent screen or even a high-gain wall paint, and you value low maintenance over a lower upfront price, this projector hits the sweet spot. It's also a solid pick for gamers who want true 4K HDR with low input lag, because the HDMI 2 port supports 18 gigabits per second bandwidth, meaning you can push a PS5 or Xbox Series X at 4K 60 FPS without compromising color fidelity. The auto tone mapping ensures the game looks good straight out of the box, and the long lamp life means you won't be swapping parts after a few months of marathon sessions. On the flip side, skip this model if you live in an apartment with big windows, don't want to commit to a permanent screen setup, or you're looking for a budget-friendly entry into